So I'm Bryan. Melinda Summers is not here with me right now, but she is my project partner, and later on you will see clips of her interviewing various people about their smartphone use. This is a video for the Sociology 373 class. Topic: smartphones. It's likely that you or someone you know has a smartphone. iPhone, BlackBerry, Google phone, and so on. This form of media technology is ubiquitous. Personally, I have a real love-hate relationship with smartphones and media technology in general. As discussed in Media Society, media technology within the last few decades has allowed us to transcend space and time, a phenomena that the book calls time shifting and place shifting. This allows for a minimization or even elimination of the limitations of geography and time.
And here on this map you can see the grand Pacific Ocean dividing continents by a vast distance.
However,
never before has the world been so close. If we have the right contact information, individuals on the opposite side of the world, given the appropriate media technology, are only several keystrokes away.
My influence is all over the world.
New media involves us, the technologically literate, as both receivers and creators of content. All of this and more in the palm of your hand by means of internet and smartphone technology. But I hate it. Push notifications for Facebook and Twitter updates have the ability to constantly interrupt our lives.
like this interrupting cow!
Email notifications appear the second new messages arrive in our inbox, and rather than controlling these tools and living in the present, too many of us have reached a point where we are controlled by our technology.
I control you!
Along with social networking and texting, email and messaging, comes concerns with distraction, spelling and grammar, and analytical thinking.
What are you saying?
Furthermore, Media Society on page 308 reads that some critics suggest, despite a world of knowledge at their fingertips, the younger generation that has grown up with new media is less informed, less literate, more self-absorbed, and more depressed than any that has preceded it. They point to social networking as one source of the problem.
Wow, you make me depressed. Interrupting cow push notification.
Socializing. The idea that people are in a group where they could or should be socializing, but instead all are on their smartphones or iDevices in their own little world, not really talking to anyone. So there you have it. Love-hate. In order to get a tiny bit of perspective, this cynic and his project partner, Melinda Summers, decided to ask a few people how they use their smartphones.
You may notice a substantial improvement in lighting and picture quality, as well as an increase in playback speed.
We were pleased to find that in our tiny sample group of 4 people, push notifications were found to be distracting and were usually disabled by choice. Even within this small sample of people, uses for smartphones were diverse. One woman used hers primarily for music entertainment, another woman used hers for phone calls and solitaire. 2 other individuals used theirs to check email and school grades. Those interviewed reported checking Facebook between 1 and 4 times a day, so that's not so bad. Most of them mentioned that they weren't continually checking Facebook throughout the day, which was actually surprising to me. We'd loosely hypothesized that most of the smartphone users would not mention making phone calls with their smartphones, instead noting their frequent use of text and email, but surprisingly, to me especially, the responses of those interviewed indicated that quick, informative phone calls aren't quite dead. All 4 users reported using correct spelling and grammar when possible, and said that they didn't much care for internet shorthand or web abbreviations.
Push notification cow!
It's hard and, quite frankly, irresponsible to make blanket statements when citing the responses of such a small sample group, but I must say that their responses were encouraging to me, since they didn't indicate any obvious obsession with staying up to speed on all the latest news on Facebook, Twitter, email, etc.
Do you think they can connect this straight into my brain?
So are smartphones good or bad? One can't really call smartphones good or bad. They're tools, and like all tools, whether or not they're good or bad is dependent on how we use them. Douglas Rushkoff is one of the foremost digital technology and media theorists today. He wrote a book called Program or Be Programmed. Within it, he sets forth 10 commands for the digital age, which are all very interesting and very helpful. One of the rules that would benefit all of us is "thou shalt not be always on," which essentially what he's saying is that we need to not be connected to everything all the time, which smartphones make it very easy to do that. Our time is our time. It's valuable and worth too much to be constantly used up with checking, let's face it, usually trivial interruptions. Perhaps checking Facebook or our email once or twice a day at most might begin to free up our minds and our attention. It's a first step, anyway. So I would say the takeaway from all this is be wise with your time so that your smartphones and media technology don't control you. Take advantage of the benefits of the amazing tools at our disposal in this incredible internet age, but remember that balance in life is something for which we ought to strive, and we ought to never lose sight of the present and our current surroundings and the people around us.